Now, if you want to get into the brand of Xerjoff, this might be the best fragrance to do it. I still think the hype is real. It is worth it. There's no clones, as far as I can tell, that match this anywhere near in quality. Ranking the 15 most popular men's niche fragrances from worst to best, sort of doing a tier list, guys, so you can understand what I think are the best niche fragrances which you should check out, and I'll tell you whether or not these popular fragrances are worth the hype or not. Bear with me, guys, if I'm a little bit low energy in this video. I just woke up. It is Ramadan during the recording of this video, so I just woke up to have sahur, which is like we're eating in the middle of the night. So I'm now recording this video. It's a bit new for me doing this timing. It's always difficult to know exactly what are the most popular niche fragrances because there's no ranking for the most sold fragrances as far as I can tell online. So you kind of use Fragrantica. If you go on any fragrance listing, go to the bottom of the page, you can see the most popular fragrances. So I picked up a bunch of niche fragrances from there, of course, the ones I have tried. And then I've kind of just used my own intuition as a reviewer, seeing what's popular online to try and really have an educated guess as to what I think are the most popular niche fragrances. I own most of these. Some of these I've given bottles away or I've only just sampled them. Let's begin the list 15 to 1. If you guys don't know, we have our own fragrance brand called Atrium, where we are trying to introduce and explore new creative ideas in men's perfumery. You can get a well-rounded collection in one purchase through acquiring our discovery set of our Curiosity collection, which is now available. Use the link in the description down below. As I'm going through the list, guys, I'm going to give each fragrance a ranking. It's not necessarily going to be in order, but then at the end, I might have to move things around and re-rank things a bit. Let's go with one of the most popular niche fragrances easily. This is Creed Aventus. This is a revolutionary fragrance from 2010. It came out and just changed everything. After this came out, 100 billion clones were produced to recreate the magic that it used to be. It's not as rich as it used to be as far as I can tell. Initially, Aventus was beautiful. It had like a magical ambergris effect with beautiful pineapple, a little bit citrusy, woody, smoky, a really beautiful signature that, you know, it's still great. This is a 2022 bottle, I believe, and, you know, it's not bad. Like, it's a good fragrance, but it's competing now against all those clones for a much more affordable price tag. I still think of the opening of Aventus is one of the best in the game, in this DNA, but of course, it's kind of overpriced nowadays. The DNA has been replicated so many times, there's so many good clones. I'm not going to put it so high, but I'm not going to put it so low because it is a big fragrance. It's changed a lot. It changed the industry a lot. It's a revolutionizing fragrance. So I'm going to put it in the number 10 spot for now. Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. I've only had a sample of this fragrance. I really feel like I should get a bottle at some point. I probably will. I feel like Baccarat Rouge 540, Grand Soir, and Oud Satin Mood for me will probably be the top 3. Maybe Masculine Pluriel should be up there also. Maybe that's number 4. I do feel like this fragrance gets a lot of hate. Some people just don't vibe with it. I think it's a kind of stylistic choice. It's very loud, sweet, sugary amber. Again, a really nice ambergris effect in the air. It's got that iconic spicy saffron in the opening. I think it's a beautiful fragrance. It's a great head turner. It's unisex. I just think it smells sexy. For me, I really like it. I can see why it's so popular. I think in the fragrance community, people like to look down on this fragrance, but I do think it's made big waves in the industry. I think it does deserve the hype. I kind of rate it highly. I'm going to put this in the number 9 spots. 37.9% of people who watch School of Scent are subscribed to us. If you guys really want to see our channel grow, go ahead and click subscribe. Let's get that number to 40%. Thank you. Mancera Cedrat Boise. Now, I've got the Intense here. I do think the Intense is better than the original, but in this list, I will be referring to the original because that's probably the most popular flanker between these two. This is in the Aventus style, but not an Aventus clone. It's smoky, citrusy, has a blackcurrant note in here, woody, very masculine in my opinion. And the original used to be insanely strong. It got nerfed, so it's not as strong as it used to be, but still, from the modern bottle I used to have, it lasts around 8 hours with a medium projection. It's a nice bright daytime signature if you want to smell masculine and intense. Also, the old formulation, the beastly stuff that lasted over 14 hours, got me so many compliments. It was my most complimented DNA, very intense compliments also. The original is very good value for money. If you can find it at discounts, it's very good. So maybe you can pay like £60. You can pay like the designer price tag for an entry-level niche fragrance, which is really great about it. I want to put it higher than Aventus in my opinion, only because, first of all, I prefer the Intense, and I kind of think Aventus is more legendary, so I put it in the number 11 spot. It's a good, solid daily driver. Parfum de Marly's Layton. This is a fragrance that never gets old. Like some niche fragrances, kind of the hype dies down and you kind of forget about them. I feel like Layton will forever be relevant. It is such a great job of balancing creativity, luxury, and mass appeal with this fragrance. It's thick, luxurious, apple, sort of apple pie effect with some vanilla, some rose. It still smells fresh, powdery, and musky as well. It smells really sexy, this fragrance. It just kind of is a feel-good kind of fragrance. It makes you feel like a boss. It does look expensive at the bottle, but it also smells expensive. Even with all the clones, I still feel like this is very much relevant, very long-lasting, very versatile for a sweeter fragrance also. I think this should be up there. I'm gonna put this at number 3 for now. Marc-Antoine Barrois Ganymede. I wish I got this fragrance sooner. I think this is beautiful stuff. Again, kind of like Baccarat Rouge 540, I feel like more of the magic in this fragrance happens in the air and the sillage. Don't smother your nose with it. I feel like then you're not getting actually the real effect that Quentin Biche intended with this fragrance. Ambery, mineralic, musky, suede, quite masculine, I would say, also intense and just really strange, abstract in a cool way. It's just a very creative fragrance. This is niche that deserves all the awards that it got. Beastly as well, over 12 hours longevity with a loud projection. I slept on this. I used to give it like an 8 out of 10 when I first tried it. I think this is easily a 10 out of 10. This is a masterpiece. Give it some time to grow on you. For now, I might put this at the number 5 spot. Amouage's Reflection Man. I still own the Reflection 45, but I'm referring back to the original now, which I used to own a bottle of. This is a very popular fragrance, bright, a little bit vanillic, sandalwoods, white florals. It's like a really good wedding fragrance, I would say. If you want to wear something on your wedding day, this is the kind of fragrance you'd rock. I was never the biggest fan of it, surprisingly. A lot of people kind of said it was a little bit similar to Le Mal. It kind of had some hints of the DNA in there, the original Le Mal. I used to love the original Le Mal, kind of grown away from it these days, but I still think it's a great DNA. And the Reflection Man, I just wasn't in love with it as much as I thought I would be. It is luxurious, it's bright. I think it's more of a spring-summer fragrance, but you could rock it in the autumn time as well, like a day and night signature. It's a cool fragrance. It's a great way to get into Amouage as a brand. They're very Middle Eastern in their style. This is not too intensely Middle Eastern. All the other fragrances are, you know, quite a lot. They can be intense. So maybe this is a good beginner fragrance in the brand. I'm not the biggest fan of this, but I still think it's great. I still think it's versatile. It had good longevity from what I remember, so I would put it still quite high, even if it's subjectively not to my taste. I think it's objectively good. I'm going to put this in the number 8 spot. Initio's Oud for Greatness. This is probably the classical fragrance you think of when you want a daily driver oud scent for the cold weather, for sure. Like, this is spicy and intense. Spicy, saffron, intense, a little bit leathery in a way. It kind of reminds you of Sauvage Elixir. If Sauvage Elixir went niche, it's that kind of family, that kind of style. So intense, spicy, masculine, mature, a little bit of ambery, slightly animalic oud, but I don't think the oud is too crazy. I think actually the spiciness is what can be a little bit off-putting in this fragrance. You have to kind of get used to it. It's not a beginner's like first fragrance you go for. You need to be collecting for quite a while, I think. But if you can get into this, I think this is a 10 out of 10. This is great. It's not exactly my style the most. I don't reach for this that often, but I've appreciated this more and more over time. I think it's a really good fragrance. I'm going to put it in the number 7 spot for now. Yves Saint Laurent's Tuxedo. So yes, I am including the designer private line fragrances as niche. That's what I usually do in these videos, guys. Tuxedo is probably their most popular fragrance, like that and Baby Cat. But Baby Cat came out a little bit later, so let's stick with Tuxedo. Spicy, rose, ambery, a bit of patchouli. It's a sexy date night fragrance overall, I would say. It does have some good clones though, unfortunately for Tuxedo. It has Turathi Brown, which I think is very good, as well as Mustache Eau de Parfum by Roja. Tuxedo to me, I think is overpriced, and I've never really got into the DNA that much. I kind of feel like it got so much hype from so many reviewers. I think it's a solid unisex fragrance, but again, I think it's the kind of fragrance that actually the clones make it redundant. I don't say that about Layton, for example. I still think Layton is rich, luxurious. I think Tuxedo is overpriced. In general, from what I've tried of the private line, I've tried it like superficially in fairness, but I just don't feel like it's a very impressive line. For me, Tuxedo would be quite low on this list, so for now I'm going to put it at the number 14 spot. Tom Ford's Oud Wood. Okay, so I know this fragrance got reformulated. Some people love to hate on the modern formulations, saying it's not as long lasting, not as strong, but for the DNA, even in the modern formulations, I still think this is incredibly sexy. I always say this smells like the masculinity of the forest. One of the most popular DNAs for good reason. It smells like a multifaceted, slightly green, sharp, woody forest with a hint of vanilla muskiness in the dried and a bit of amber as well. Multifaceted, rich. It It's going to be synthetic oud, but I just feel like it does the idea justice. It does it really well. This is a great signature. Maybe not for the summertime, you wouldn't wear this, but it's still very versatile. You know what? If you can still get 8 hours from the modern formulation of Tom Ford, I still think this fragrance is a 10 out of 10. It's going to be high up on my list. I'm going to put it in the number 4 spot for now. Parfum de Marly's Greenley. Now, I'm putting this in here because I feel like this is getting so much hype whenever I go online. It's posted everywhere. I feel like it's TikTok, the younger crowd, those TikTokers made it so popular. Probably the most popular freshie from what I can tell in the Parfum de Marly range. It's green apple, head and shoulders shampoo, a little bit of oak moss, citrusy, bright, musky. I think it's a bit of a synthetic fragrance. I feel like it's overrated. For me, it's probably like an 8 out of 10. It's not bad, it's long lasting, but I feel like there are better freshies in the niche realm, and there are better freshies in the Marly itself. For me, I'd probably choose Percival or Sedley myself personally. I can appreciate why people love it. Maybe it's just my personal taste. It's very subjective the way I'm rating this fragrance, but I would still put this very low. For me, this is going to be the weakest on the list. It's going to go to the number 15 spot. Xerjoff's Naxos. Now, if you want to get into the brand of Xerjoff, this might be the best fragrance to do it. I still think the hype is real. It is worth it. There's no clones, as far as I can tell, that match this anywhere near in quality. That's how you know you're getting a good value for money fragrance, niche fragrance. They're not ripping you off. This is very much luxurious. Lavender, honey, tobacco, balanced, beautiful, rich, luxurious, mature, elegant. This is definitely like an elegant head turner. You wouldn't wear this in a nightclub for sure. I think that'd be a bit weird. This is more like you go into the opera, you want to turn heads, something like that. It's got great vibes, great blend, great longevity as well. It's a 10 out of 10 masterpiece. This, I think I'm gonna have to put it in the number 1 spot. I think it deserves it. Roja's Elysium. Now, I used to own a bottle of this fragrance. This, again, I feel like if you like Aventus, you'll like this, but it's definitely not a clone. It's its own thing. It's like a very nice natural ingredients fragrance. Very natural, fresh, easy to wear. Citruses, a little bit of spiciness in here, some dry vetiver, some musks. It's very clean, bright. It's meant to represent the sky from what I remember when I talked to the Roja representative in that one video. I think it's probably, again, the easiest beginner-friendly fragrance for the Roja brand. The Roja brand can get very intense very quickly, so yes, if you want something that's very easy to wear from them, this is the fragrance to go for. I think it is overpriced though overall, and I remember the performance not being that great on my skin either, maybe around 6 hours. So for that kind of performance, and I feel like the idea is replicated in lots of different ways in other fragrances, but I do think the quality of ingredients are good. That's what Roja does quite well. I will say, I always criticize them. I think a lot of their fragrances are overpriced, but their quality of ingredients are very good. The ranking list is getting a little bit packed, but for now, I'm going to put it in the number 12 spot. Maybe that's a little bit harsh. Tom Ford's Tobacco Vanille. This, I feel like, has to be on the list as well. This is probably going to be one of the most popular from the Tom Ford line, private blend line, including just for both genders in general. I feel like it's a very sexy unisex fragrance. I feel like back in the day when it first came out, it was a revolutionary idea. I wish I had never smelled Al Haramain's Amber Oud Tobacco Edition. This is one of those rare times where a clone, I feel like, really just makes the original redundant. It smells exactly the same for, let's say, 1/5 of the price, something like that, and it lasts just as long. This is tobacco, vanilla, dried fruits, intense, a little bit spicy, a little bit cacao in here as well. This is a really nice, again, elegant fragrance. Elegant special occasions. Similar places that you'd wear Naxos, you'd wear this also. So let's say you're a guy rocking a tuxedo, like a black tie event, this is the kind of fragrance you'd wear. I do think it's great, but it's kind of getting a little bit more irrelevant nowadays. I just feel like the industry's kind of moved on. There are more interesting fragrances in this price range. The private blend is just kind of overpriced nowadays in general. The Tom Ford brand just keeps putting the prices up and up more and more from what I remember. So that's going to be a big negative for this. It's getting a bit crowded on the list. I'm going to put it in the number 6 spot for now, but maybe I'll need to move that around. Penultimate fragrance, the Labo Santal 33, which I used to own a bottle of, and fortunately, I gave it away because I didn't like it. It's an interesting fragrance. Again, probably better in the air. It's probably meant for getting that kind of special effect in the sillage. It's a sandalwood, dry cedarwood fragrance that has a bit of leather, some green notes from the papyrus, I believe was a note in there. It's an interesting kind of chic, rustic fragrance. It's very much the Labo style. I always describe this fragrance as dry pencil shavings mixed with dill, pickle juice. That's the kind of vibe we're going for. Fantastic performance in fairness, good projection, good longevity. It's polarizing, but still popular. For sure, check it out because it's an interesting fragrance. You need to give props to one of the namesakes of the Labo brand. It's made waves in the scene, so for sure, try it out. It's not for me. I'm going to put it low on this list. We're putting it in the number 13 spot. And lastly, we've got Kilian's Angel Share. I know Angel Share Paradis has come out, but I still think the OG is the best. This really blew me away since day one. This came out in 2020, I want to say, and I've loved it ever since. I tried this in store, I think, first, and I absolutely loved it. It was a really nice, balanced, elegant, really creative, boozy fragrance with a little cinnamon, like a slight apple pie aspect to it, with this praline, so it's a bit gourmand. So it's balanced, unisex, ambery, boozy, gourmand, a little bit spicy, a very sexy, elegant fragrance. Again, same places you'd wear Naxos or Tobacco Vanille, this would be competing in that kind of function also. This smells like elegance. It has good performance, like 8 to 10 hours with at least a medium projection. It really depends how nose blind you go to cinnamon. It's quite intense. But I do think this is really beautiful. I do think the hype is still worth it. It won a lot of awards. I think like several years in a row, it just keeps winning the Fragrantica awards, like niche fragrance of the year. You know what? That means this fragrance probably should go high up on this list. There's only number 2 left on the list now. And you know, I don't think that's actually a bad ranking. I think that's very fair. I'm putting Angel Share in number 2 because I have no choice anyways, guys. Okay, guys, we have the list ranked as it currently is. I'm just gonna have a quick look at it again. I might move a few things around and then we'll reveal the final rankings. Okay, guys, we made the final list. I've done some rearrangements. Started from the bottom of the rankings. I've moved Tuxedo up a little bit because I feel like Santal 33 is definitely worse than it. So I don't want to give too much hate to Tuxedo. So I feel like that's more fair for it right now. I played around a bit with that trio of Aventus style fragrances, the Aventus, Cedrat Boise, and Elysium. I feel like Cedrat Boise is very good. So I'm referring to the original now. It's very good for its price tag, but it's not better than the other two, I would say. I think it's a bit unfair. So now I feel like that trio is placed appropriately. Tobacco Vanille 10 years ago would be ranked higher. How I placed it originally, I feel like it was just a bit too high. I knocked it down a peg, but it's still a good fragrance. And I'm giving props to Baccarat Rouge 540 in the number 8 spot. I think that's fair. It needs more love, guys. And towards the top of the list, I switched around Layton and Angel Share because I feel like Layton is just such a lovable classic and it's more versatile than Angel Share. Angel Share, again, like I said, is more like that evening special occasion fragrance, so it's probably going to be quite limited in its wearability overall. Let me know, guys, what are your thoughts on my final 15 ranking list? Do you agree or disagree? And do you feel like I've included all the most popular men's niche fragrances? And when I say men's niche fragrances, I also include unisex fragrances that men often wear. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you are checking out our previous top 25 most popular fragrances in general, ranked from worst to best up here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.